Boy, that was kind of a pain in the ass of a job. I just finished doing my high pressure power steering line on my Dodge sedan, and man, what a pain. It attaches to the steering gear right underneath, sort of pretty close to the accelerator pedal, on the engine side of the firewall, and then the other side of it attaches to the high pressure hydraulic pump, the power steering pump, I should say. And I did manage to get a new one. It cost me like 24 bucks, but boy, if you have an old car, you are going to pay one way or another, either with labor or skill or and of course parts, or you're going to have to pay a mechanic, or you're going to have to buy a newer car. That's the thing. And I am so focused on Bitcoins, obviously. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing about it, but I'm so focused on that I basically am attempting to make that car last as long as I could. Now, as long as I can, because every single day that I can drive that car instead of buying a new one or a different one is a day that I can put more money into Bitcoins. Now, it's been a really long grind down over the last 9 months or so. But basically, I'm of the opinion that we are pretty darn close to the end of it. And we're heading to a point where we're gonna turn around and start going up again. Now, the market has really been shattered as far as confidence goes. If you'll notice that the previous big, huge bull run took place last year, but it took place after sort of a gentle price rise over a period of like, I don't know, maybe a year of just gentle, kind of understated, gradual increases. And it basically, then, I guess that just sort of added confidence, and then the whole thing just went freaking batshit insane. Way more than would be justified at that market level. I mean, but basically, I am of the opinion that we're headed that way again. We're going to start to see a gentle upswing again, and then we're going to have like another big, huge pump, probably in spring of next year. Bitcoins are kind of weird. You got they basically sort of grind along, more or less horizontal, maybe a slight uptick or uptrend, and then you get this gigantic, almost vertical price increase, and then it sort of tops out, and then the bears come in, and the whole thing just starts crashing down, but or bleeding down over a period of like months, right? Until you're like this again. But the thing is, the pre-pump, hold on, let me. Friggin' dogs. Nothing happening out here. Otherwise the light would be on. Okay. For example, in 2013, you had like most of the year it started like at like 13 and then went up to 250 and then down to like 100, but maybe on the average it was probably about 80. And then it shot up to $1,200 each. And then started bleeding back down again. But the thing is, it never bled down to the 80 or to what it was for the previous 12 months, right? You get basically it drops down, but it bottomed out at like $200 or about, I think it spiked down to like 159 or something, but it pretty much just bottomed out at 200. And then we had that year-long sort of blasé period in 2015 where the price started at like 200 and then ended at around 500, I think. And then 2016 was a good deal better because then we continued up and we had the halvening then. And then I think it ended right around 1,000 or 900 or something. Sort of a gentle upswing. Then we had 2017 and the Bitcoin Civil War where freaking Roger Ver, that evil bastard, and Jihad Wu, they attempted a hostile takeover of Bitcoin and basically they jammed the market with massive numbers of transactions, and then they just tried to crash the confidence in Bitcoin in order to roll out or seize control of software creation so that they would control both mining, the media, Bitcoin media, Bitcoin.com, and then software creation too. And then it would all be theirs, their little fiefdom. But the Bitcoiners are a stubborn bunch. We dug our heels in with the BIP 148 rebellion, and we basically were going to say we're going to wreck this thing unless you guys allow the upgrade to SegWit. And then we found out later that those guys had this massive secret profit trading secret called the ASIC Boost, and Segregated Witness was going to destroy that secret method of mining about 30% more Bitcoin for the dollar or the per kilowatt. And that was the reason why they were throwing us under the bus like that. But we broke him, and they, in rage, split Bitcoin off into B-Trash and Bitcoin, right? And then, of course, all the not very bright people and greedy people went off to B-Trash, and the rest of us stayed and kept working on Bitcoin. But that caused a big, huge spike down, and that scared the living crap out of me. I thought the end was here, and that's when I sold half my Bitcoins, and paid off my house. But in any case, then as soon as I sold, it was like a trigger, and then it started coming back up again. But then once we beat them and managed to get Segregated Witness in, then we had a few months later, we had this ginormous increase to like $19,000 each. And then it's sort of topped out. And I was pretty wealthy at that for about 4 days. I was pretty pretty smiling. And then it started pulling back, but we all thought, it's no big deal. But eventually, over a period of 9 months or so, it's crashed down. But it didn't crash down to what it was before the big pump, right? Because the average for 2017, maybe it was like $2,000 or something. But when it crashed, or when it pulled back and finished bleeding down, it pretty much stopped out at like 6,000. And that's a heck of a bonus from what it was over the previous 12 months. You know, we had like 2,000 and now we've got 6,000, right? I'm pretty happy about that. But now it looks, I called about a month ago that it had bottomed, and I'm of the opinion that Bitcoin has bottomed. It's conceivable they might spike it down somehow with massive shorting and a heck of a lot of money, but I believe the market has bottomed, and the only thing that will happen if they do that is people will start buying that crash or that dip. Then very soon we're going to be having backed, and we're going to have the CBOE ETF, and Citigroup is going to be doing custody and holding Bitcoins for people so that, or corporations, so that they can like pension funds and retirement funds and insurance companies, you know, they'll be able to hold some Bitcoins, and Citibank will keep it sort of safe for them, you know. And then basically all of that is going to be a tremendous upward pressure for Bitcoin, and it's my opinion that it's going to be a very nice upswing over the next 12 months or so. So I just thought I'd throw it out there. I know I've been kind of quiet lately about Bitcoin. The whole market coming down like this, it's really cast a real negativity, you know, in the Bitcoin sphere. But I am of the opinion that we have bottomed, and we are going to be going up rather nicely over the next year or so. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. And basically, I have a magic number for my retirement when I'm going to pull the plug on my job and all that. And Bitcoins could easily reach that point. And then I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to buy myself a camper and just dump everything and start living the mobile lifestyle. And I think I'm going to rent a place sort of in the rural area, like way out in the sticks somewhere, and move my stuff over there so I can get out from under this house. Because every 8 to 10 years or so, we have this massive recession. Then stocks and real estate crash. Precious metals have typically gone up at that point. And things like that are not part of the regular financial system, like Bitcoins, they should, you know, and precious metals, they should all go up very nicely. But, and I benefited from that in the previous recession, back in 2005, I started seeing, once I got rid of my TV and woke up, I highly recommend everybody get rid of their TV too, by the way. But I woke up, and then basically I saw the signs of the 2008 recession coming our way, so it freaked me out. That's what turned me into a prepper, and that's got me. I bought my first gun, and basically started buying silver and stacking it, and then in 2011, silver spiked at like 260% above where I bought it, and then it started coming down, and I sold about half of it at about 200 or so, or 200% gain, and then used that money to buy this house, or the down payment on this house. Then I was able to sit on that condo because the price was in the shitter. It was at the worst of the recession, 2012. The real estate market was just in the toilet. So that's when I purchased the house and kept the condo and put a renter in it. This kind of aging, overweight feminist woman who was hot for me. And then I held on to it until like 2015, when I saw the real estate market starting to recover, and then took that money and dumped it into the house. If I had real serious balls and I was really tempted to do it, I could have put that money into Bitcoin. Bitcoins were like $200 or $300 each back then. It would have been nice to get $100,000 worth of Bitcoin at that price. Well, anyway, I didn't do it. I was just a little more conservative, and I still am, you know. But I saw the potential of Bitcoin, but man, I couldn't bring myself to risk more than my surplus monthly income. Every month I'll put some money into it. I still do, and then basically, you know, allow time to bring value to the investment. But okay, but so I saw that the recession was really bad, and I saw real estate prices bottom. Bought the house. Once they started to recover pretty good in 2015, I sold the condo, dumped the money into the house mortgage, and then in the Bitcoin Civil War, I panicked, sold half my Bitcoins, and paid off the rest of the house. But what I'm saying now is I have taken advantage of previous dips and economic crashes, and we are really due for another one. They're just printing money and just duct taping the economy together, but eventually they're gonna have to pull the plug and let the recession happen. Then we'll have a nice big huge real estate and stock market crash, and then things will be cheap as far as like real estate and like jet skis and trucks and cars and stocks. You know, pretty much every one of these conventional assets will become very cheap because people will not be able to afford the debt payments, and those things will get repossessed, and they'll have to like sell them at just a fraction of what they're worth. And then people who are like sort of long-term thinkers, they can go out and pick up some of these assets on sale and you know, sweep them up and put them in their pocket, and then a few years later the economy will start pumping up again, and then basically those assets will become dramatically more valuable, and then that will be a lot of profit for every MGTOW who can see the opportunity. So we are due for another recession. It's going to happen any time now. So I would like to sell this house before that happens. The house, I bought the house for $160,000 at the worst of that recession, and now it's worth about $320 or $330, something like that. So I'll be able to take that money, dump it into vaulted gold somewhere, and in a couple of different places, and then that should be pretty cool because it'll be tax-free. I mean, you can sell a house as long as you've lived in it for a few years, and then basically pocket the money without any kind of tax. That is one really cool. I mean, the U.S. it's very screwed up in so many ways, but in some situations, every once in a while, something actually makes sense. And that does. So I'll take that, throw it into vaulted gold as sort of an emergency fund to sort of smooth out the volatility of Bitcoin, and then just retire. That's my plan. I don't know. I don't want to really get rid of all my stuff. I mean, all my tools, man. I would really have a hard time saying goodbye to my tools. But so I'll just rent a place, move everything over there, and live the mobile lifestyle for, I don't know, a year or so, and see if that's really what I want, and then possibly relocate to some permaculture community, permaculture farm, something like that. Maybe be the handyman there, or maybe start my own, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do, basically. So I'm seeing another big recession coming. I know I've been talking about it for years. I am amazed that it's held off this long. But basically it is coming, and recessions do come. So it's wise to plan for them. And if you can get out from under like stocks and real estate right about now, or be ready to move, then once things really start getting serious, you can get out from under those assets and sweep in once it's bottomed out and get some real bargains. So, okay guys, don't get married. Later.